Hello guys and welcome to our channel. This is Baby Rule. In today's video we are talking about the Untamed, our final thoughts, basically what I think about it completely in the end and what does change with my main build or anything. This is the final version unless the Untamed actually for some reason change later significantly that we need to update build or do anything like that. So I released multiple videos, one for the build that's completely specific in details and comparing it with soulbeast and what should we choose or stuff like that, and one with the bits, the new bits, talking about the bugs and everything wrong and good with them and stuff like that, a full review, and another solo build too and crazy event that you can see the Untamed actual skill level or capability in it. So a few things changed with the last batch. First, bits are the same, all the bugs still the same, nothing completely changed. I really urge you to watch the videos. I will put them in the card and in description to understand what I'm talking about. I have full detailed as fast as possible both the build and the bits. Now all the bugs are still the same, even so one of the major bugs happened with the mechanist too, but the last batch fixed it for the mechanist. At least that's what I understood they did, but it didn't do anything for us. They left the bits completely the same. And also especially the turtle, which is the most buggy bit that have been ever introduced to the game and have too many problems with it. It could be great or even the greatest bit in the game if only they fix it and make it work properly. And also there was a small buff to Untamed that actually mean a lot for us and was finalizing choice for me that make me right now choose the Untamed as my main ranger for PvE. Yes, I will choose it over soulbeast. Obviously I'm not talking about benchmarking, DPS, everything like that, what can offer or not. I'm talking about my choice to play. I've been using it in open world, events and even strike, and I've been doing great. Now let's talk in details about what I mean about the bugs. Let's start with a bit and then come back to the Untamed. So as you see in this video, I'm standing right here with my turtle and I get attacked and the turtle doesn't do anything. This is the first of the bugs that's completely horrible. It happened especially with the turtle, not with most of other bits. It will never attack, it will never do anything unless you trigger a skill from it to break it free. And sometimes, only sometimes, especially if you immediately use the skill you control the field right after you switch to it, it will even trigger the skill and still doesn't enter combat, that doesn't do anything. As you see here, I will trigger a skill and it will start combating normally and everything go fine from this. But however, turtle have different problem. Now, as you see here, I changed to a turtle and attacked in melee range. So as every bit will actually act this way, if you are on like 180 range, the melee range, it will go for skill 3 of the bit first. If you're longer than this range, not in melee range, it will go to skill 4. However, turtle is the only bit in the game that doesn't behave right. If it's in range, it will keep hitting cannon only. It will keep hitting auto attack and never go into melee to trigger the rest of its skills, which is quite the problem. And as you see here, there is another problem with the turtle. The cannon it go in an arc-shaped projectile. So whenever the enemy is moving, it never touches the enemy, it never lands. So its auto-attacking is completely worthless unless you are melee or your enemy is standing still that never do anything. I know I said in the build video that I don't really mind this much that the turtle doesn't move, but that's about PvE things. Here I was in World vs. World, as you notice, so it was a nightmare to actually fight with it. It will never go to ZC, it will never help you in any way. The only value you get from it is either if the enemy is stuck next to you because of immobilize, like you're playing Druid, and you trigger the CC because you're already in melee range, or simply get the projectile barrier and protection for healing through rugged growth trait. So I hope they make the turtle actually work normally like any other bit in the game. Simply it will trigger its skill through the AI in normal behavior, go to skill 3 if in melee or 4 if in range, and then go to skill 3 auto attack, and you can control the other skill and keep rotating its skill completely naturally, and it would be way better. it's what to be expected from any bit. I don't know why it's like this. I think it's a bug. There is no way they actually mean for this to happen. And as you see here, I'm showing you Iboga that actually behaves the same way. And Smoke Scale and Ragazelle, every bit will trigger a melee range skill 3 first. Or if it's longer than melee range, like 180, higher than this, it will trigger skill 4 first. As you see here, I was longer than 180 and triggered 4 first. And as you see here, when I'm 180, it did an auto attack first, but it will never do the smoke assault first. It triggers a knockdown, you see the animation, the light appear around it, and then it will trigger smoke assault. It's a consistent thing that works with all bits, and this should how they should be working. And Turtle should be work like that, and I hope they fix it soon. However, all the other problem with the bits is if we go like that and then trigger skill, as you see, I'm pressing it and the bit doesn't do anything until it's very long time. It's about 4 seconds that you can control your bit skills, not immediately when you summon them. As you see, I'm pressing skill and nothing happened until the time pass. If we go to any other bit than the new ones, it will behave completely normally. As you see here, the moment I click the skill, Jacaranda go immediately to the animation and start casting it. So that's the problem with the bit, and I hope they fix it. Now, let's talk about Untamed itself. So this trait was buffed, Vow of the Untamed. Now it reduced the incoming power damage to 25% and increase your ongoing damage by 25% if you are unleashed. So in this state, when my bit's unleashed, I take less damage. When I'm unleashed, I do more damage, power damage. So this buff was kind of a significant buff enough to actually bring the Untamed, well, not close to the highest DPS possible to soulbeast, but a little bit out there, especially if you're running with builds in open world and design them for complete damage. It's actually very close to soulbeast right now. However, I'm not sure if that's enough to make people actually choose it, because it's still designed to be a tank, and if you're gonna do DPS with it, it doesn't offer much to people, unlike soulbeast that can still offer stances, which can do a lot. So I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe it can offer way more CC, and that's probably the highest advantage you can get from the Untamed, but I'm not sure if that's enough to actually choose it. And it can still bring bits, which means something like that to protect people from projectile, depending on what kind of play field they're working on. And projectile barrier can be really significant with actual protection access here. And also have the other projectile barrier and the wound removal, and that's also quite something that can help you anyway, depending on, like I said, where you are fighting or what you have. But this is not about trade talk. This actually mean power Untamed is not that bad in open world, at least, because it used to be really low damage that there is no reason to take it. At least right now you could take it for simply higher CC and very fast kill time, because it's a power build anyway. So I was kind of against playing Untamed in open world anyway, because it feels really weak. It doesn't have the damage nor the sustain, so you should go at least hybrid. But right now, it's okay. I still won't play it myself. I don't really enjoy bars this much. And simply fast killing is not this efficient enough comparing to a hybrid Untamed if you're playing condition build using Celestial gear. So still, not really the greatest thing you can have, but at least it's better now. And they nerfed this trait because they increased our damage significantly, or what we can do from the Vow of the Untamed. They nerfed Restorative Strike by half. It's 5% of your damage is healing now, instead of 10%. Those changes did not make it to competitive. It's only in PvE. But still, both those traits are not as valuable as taking Fervent Force, because simply you can reset your cooldown on healing skill faster, even, so you can heal more. And you can also lower the cooldown on your damaging skill, or a skill that grant you boon, something like Exploding Spores, or if you're going with Shouts, something like that. You will be able to have more damage, more healing, more everything if you simply go with Fervent Force and with some CC somehow. If you're going with Hammer, for example, and you can then have insane amount of CC, which means you keep resetting your cooldown and have one of the fastest potential to move from a fight to the other. Soulbeast in PvE can kill things very fast with something like Second Build, but it's not as fast as simply resetting your skill. So you will be fast in one fight, but then you will have to wait for your cooldown. But Untamed will be able to move immediately from a fight to another, which is quite unique in open world. However, I'm still stuck with my build, and let me tell you, I'm loving it. So Vow of the Untamed basically make me extremely tanky, or simply buff my damage a little. It's as tanky as the necromancer changes. As you see, core necromancer now get reduced damage 50% inside shroud, and reaper get 33%. Scourge and harbinger doesn't get anything. However, it feels quite the same, so I'm very tanky when I'm taking damage. That's beside what I can do and apply insane amount of weakness. As you see, I can apply almost permanent weakness to the next attacks my bit do. So if I'm fighting a boss or anything, I can even reduce the damage a little bit. I can apply slow if I have a lot of mobs around me, but as we said, you don't have to take this. You can even increase your damage resist and vitality. So I don't even have food right now. I'm topping more than 30k, and that build actually do a lot of damage. So I get reduced 25% and I get a lot of protection. So we are getting protection through the trait companion's defense. So every time I dodge, I will get 2.5 seconds protection. It's 2 seconds, but I have increased point duration since I'm using mostly celestial, and I'm using turtle, which means I get access to this doom. And if I want to protect myself even more, I can use explosive spore outside of unleashed state. So my bit unleashed, I use explosive spores and I get protection. If I'm unleashed, I will get might to increase my damage. Now the protection, what it does for us, because of the celestial gear have healing power, so we will get healed for each second we have. The turtle itself can give us up to 10 seconds of protection to everyone around it. In boulders, this skill will give me more than 5 seconds, and every time I dodge will get more than 2 seconds. And it doesn't only reduce the damage, combined with Vow the Untamed, reduce it by a lot, it will also keep healing me. So if you play Soul Beast, you almost have the same damage. You can have higher damage depending on the situation, but you can go with this trait for Untamed, and I do not recommend ever taking this trait with Soul Beast because you will not be able to break Defiance bar. Soul Beast CC, my own builds are kind of limited, but Untamed have way more because of the Immobilize from the Unleash skill, because of the Chill, because of the CC the bit can offer, because of this skill knockdown, because of the Immobilize here, and still have the short bow. So you can afford to actually take this skill, which means more vitality, and yet more vitality. Healing through the Unleash Ambush skill, and also resetting cooldown faster, so you have your skills even faster. The same skills that do CC, like this skill on a 10-second cooldown, you land 1 CC and now it's barely 6-second cooldown, stuff like that. So basically you do the same damage, it's not really that much. Each of them can be increased a little bit on top of the other. But however, in order to do that in Soul Beast, you can't take the turtle, you have to take Bristol Back, or at least something that do condition damage, with the effect of Deadly. Usually Bristol Back is the highest damage possible because it can spread the damage even to multiple beasts or multiple mobs around you, so it is the best choice usually. Now with that setup, that means this is the only healing skill you have. You have few siphoning health from the poison itself, you have access to protection more through Unstoppable Union or if you're copying boon or stuff like that, but that's about it. And you do have no bit to take even damage for you, to tank for you, because if you want to do this much damage you have to be merged. So even if you unmerge and merge again to get the skills again and keep moving the fight around, it will still lower your damage a bit. So Soul Beast in this method, even if it can do the same damage, it doesn't have the same survivability. Yes, it can afford at least to have 2 stun breaks most of the time, which is quite unique, but if you're really careful or being smart how you play Untamed, you have 2 bits to switch between them. One of them can even heal you, protect you. You have a lot of extra skill. You can still remove boons and do a lot of things easy. You can reduce damage from this trait and you can reset your healing faster, with even have higher protection uptime. So technically Untamed is now, in my opinion, better than Soul Beast. The only downside the Untamed will always have is both of its weapon setup. If you're going with a setup like this, any setups that actually require a hybrid build or focusing more on condition, it's all projectile. So some very unique situation will be either annoying because you're gonna have to wait projectile reflection from the mobs to aware out, or gonna be completely impossible, which is really rare in PvE to have something like that, but it happens. Other than that, it's absolutely perfect. It's good for damage, it goes for survivability and for everything. And however, if you're roaming around a lot in Dragon's End maps, you find a lot of mobs doing a lot of protection or a lot of resolution or boons like that, might, stability. With stuff like that, Soul Beast have just to burn through it. But Untamed, if you want, can simply on a 15-second cooldown that can be resetted every time you trigger this trait, can remove 3 boons up to 5 target around it and can teleport the bit to them, so it will never fail if you actually collect the mobs around you and playing it right, which is quite unique on its own and an advantage that soulbeast can't offer. And however, I decided on my gear to go with Celestial. Full Celestial armor, back, amulet, and rings, except one. I actually leave only one ring to be dire, and my weapon are dire. So everything is Celestial except one ring and my weapon. Because this way, when I have this, if I trigger light on your feet, I will get to 100%, even about a little bit higher than 100%, so obviously it's a waste a little bit, but we don't get this trait all the time, so it's okay, because it increases our condition duration by 10%. And if I want to take this trait, as you see here, it increased by about 10%, so right now I'm on 100 if I'm really focusing on damage only and not above it. So I kept only those things are dire, and I'm still running Malice and Bursting on both weapon sets and still going with Kite. My bits, most of the time you see me stuck on the turtle, not move to anything else, but if you really wanna come to the soul beast damage, you would have to go Jacaranda. And most fight you will not need the survivability that turtle can offer you anyway, and the moment you need it you simply switch to turtle right next to you and trigger the protection field, and you will start healing and gaining reduced damage and everything. So it's up to you. Most of the time I find my damage to be sufficient enough that I don't need to play with Jacaranda, but both my bits are Jacaranda and the turtle. At least I would really keep the turtle. Jacaranda is for damage, the turtle is for survivability, but you are not a soul beast, you have the freedom to switch between them any moment you like. And I would be a little bit careful on this build, since we have only one stun break that offers a lot of damage, so you would be wasting it a lot of the time for damage. But sometimes you can afford the risk by simply going in, and even if you're getting CC, if you're unleashed, you simply let your bit be unleashed and the damage you'll be taking will be significantly less. And another method, you can even while knockdown, if you couldn't break out stun, trigger this field to start healing immediately. And you can unleash or unleash your bit to remove condition if you kept this trait between you, so the bar damage will be reduced enough that you will survive it, and even if you have condition you will be able to remove it even while you're knocked down and most of your skill on cooldown. So I didn't feel significant risk in playing even with one stun break because of this method. Now last notes for world versus world play and stuff like that. It's for the turtle. I've been promoting the turtle use a lot in world versus world right now, as you see in my last couple of videos. I really like it. It's really strong. It fixes some of the weaknesses of ranger play, especially druid. I mean, because we are really weak against bar damage and a lot of CC play. So even if you have a lot of toughness, you simply heal through. Yeah, my build have no block, no greatsword, no even serious access to stability, no signals of stone, nothing. So most of the time you simply heal through things, cleanse, condition, kite, stuff like that. Turtle, however, at least give you this thing. So it's a projectile field that offer well out of value. It can help you be stationary. You're not simply just running all the time and like run for your life. It puts some out there and help even with filling CC avatar a little bit faster because the protection heal us from trait rugged growth. However, because of the bugs we discussed earlier in the start of the video, turtle has been a nightmare to use. It's simply you change to it and pray to God that this skill will trigger immediately, that you don't have to wait 4 seconds while you're being sniped by a Deadeye or a second soul beast or being CC'd and bursted down. You just wish it doesn't bug this time and everything is up to luck. And if you're in melee range, you hope the turtle doesn't even get stuck completely and doesn't do anything for you. You hope it will trigger its CC, this skill. When it happens, at least it's good. When it not, most of the time the turtle is basically this field when she feel like using it, like after 4 seconds. Most of the time it's not immediate, but even if it's immediate, it just you get this field, you move around and the turtle just stuck behind you trying to keep bumping this one auto attack every second, and that's it. So to replace Iboga with the CC that you can actually control all the time, was not really that great. It doesn't do damage, it doesn't do anything, but it can save your life nicely. Not as much as you want it. So when they fix it, it might be great. This is probably how it'll be running most of the time. But losing a bogus CC or the access to more controllable CC, especially from range, was not that great, so it will at least be an option. So turtle is not like the be all or end all bit, like we're not gonna go for any other bit, but it's really a good option that I would probably run with Raggazal most of the time. And I'm trying to play with it as much as I can because I just enjoying how tanky the turtle can help me to be in 1 vs world. Obviously the skill in 1 vs world give you only 1 second of protection every pulse, which mean 5 seconds total, but with the healing bar of Druid, this skill in 1 vs world heal for almost 300, it's nerfed in 1 vs world, so it's nice, it helps with the avatar, it's something right there anyway. So that's it for the video. I hope you found it useful, and right now you know what is my main build for PvE. I'm going Untamed, and I don't think I'm going back to soulbeast unless I really need to play it, like in Dragonfall meta, since you really need a melee weapon there to break the crystals, stuff like that. But other than that, I'm really stuck with the Untamed, and I've been loving it ever since you watched my last video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you think it's worth it, and I'll be seeing you next time. Peace.